day, welcome to my channel. My name is Ebere Chigwe, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a straight 6-piece skirt. If you watched my previous video, I made a video on how to make a curved 6-piece skirt. So this one is a more professional one, and the link to download the free video is in my video. Just click on the link below and then you're going to see. Or you can just check on my website www.mercenarex.com. Thank you. So we're going to start. We're going to be needing a metal rule. That's a very long one. And we're going to be needing about 3 brown papers. Okay, we'll just have about 2 here. So we're going to be needing about 3 brown papers. One for the center piece, one for the side pieces, and another one for the zip area. So here's what we're going to do. Because I'm making straight 6-piece, in chapter 7 of my pattern making book, if you have the book, go to page 53, straight 6-piece skirt. So we have the center piece, side piece, then we have the seam allowance. So the differences between the straight 6-piece and the single pattern 6-piece is this: there is no dividing by 6 at any point, and subsequently dividing by 2. I'm talking about the upper sides, not really the downside. Then the center pieces are cut straight and not curvy as in the single pattern piece. So if you have the single pattern piece, it has the shape like, okay, this is actually straight. It just has a slight curve here and then comes in. So it makes it bulge for people that don't have very wide hips and all that. So it makes it a little bit bulgy. That's why it's not so professional. So there's also a seaming allowance attached to the sides, rather than just the regular 0.5 inch allowance attached to each piece as done in the other one. So basically, we just have 3 different sides. We have the center front piece, center back with zipper, and then we have the side pieces. These are the major areas. That's why we're going to be needing about 3 pattern making papers. So I have my markers in place of my pencil and eraser. So it's going to take this aside, and you ask yourself, how many yards of fabric were you given? I always like to make an illustration with 3 yards of fabric, because most times people will not be willing to part with more than 3 yards of fabric for their skirts. So let's say you're given 3 yards of fabric, you could actually be given 3.5 yards, or you could be given 4 yards of fabric. But assuming you're given 3 yards of fabric, as usual, the first thing you do is that you convert your number of yards to inches. So have 3 yards, 36 inches times 3 yards. We're going to have about 108 inches. So that means that the wideness of the skirt would be 108 inches at the full suite. Now, of course, you're going to subtract your sewing allowance per individual piece, but it's not really, it's quite negligible. It's not really going to be up to 8 inches. So we also have, so each single piece has about 108 inches divided by the number of pieces. So now I'm assuming I'm making a 6-piece skirt. I use 6-piece skirts because it's like the basic skirt pattern. A basic skirt pattern is about 4 pieces, then a basic pieces skirt pattern is about 6 pieces. So that's what I'm using. So if you like, you can use 8, you can use 10, you can use 12, but we're working with 6 for now. So what we're going to do is that we're going to still follow the first step we followed in the other one. We already gotten the number of inches. We're going to cut out the foot width and have a foot width of about 18 inches. 18 inches, so you just measure from one edge to the other, 18 inches, and you square it up. So you just have to cut it out. So having cut it out, I have the length, approximately 39 inches for the full length of the skirt, and I have a width of 18 inches. So this one right now is for the center front piece. The center front piece is always cut on the side. So what we do is that we fold it. We fold, and then this time around we're not dividing by 6, we're not further dividing by 2. So we establish our lines, and like I said, we're working with Simbi's measurements. So Simbi's knee length is 19 inches. So we're going to measure 19 inches. Then her low waist to her hip is about 6 inches. You just mark your lines, connect your line to the horizontal line. That's what you have. So well, we're making a 6-piece skirt, and she has a low waist of around, say a low waist of around 28 inches, and you're trying to make a skirt that looks like this beautiful looking skirt, and you're looking for what to make. Okay, so let's say you're going to use the center front piece. You can make it about 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches is okay. You can use 4 is still okay, because by the time you measure 4, you now sew the sides with ½ inch each. So I'm going to use 3.5 inches for sewing. This is the center front. You see this folded line now? That's where you measure from. 3.5, 3.5, and 3.5 inches. So you connect it from the lowest line to the hip line. This hip, and this is knee, and this is low waist. So you connect it from the lowest line to the hip line, to the knee line, and then you connect it to the full length. Note, I didn't add a special sewing allowance. I incorporated that when I used 3.5. So what I'm going to do, this is now my CF, center front piece. So what I'm going to do is that I'll just have to trim off this. Now this is why it is called the straight 6-piece skirt. There is no special curve anywhere. No curve on the low waist, no curve on the hip, no curve on the knee, just straight. Then you connected it to the waist. We're done constructing the center piece. So what we're going to do is that we'll construct the side piece. So you remember that the center piece has a foot width of 18 inches. So you find a fresh piece of pattern paper. That's where you're cutting directly with the pattern, not with your fabric. So you just measure about 18 inches. That's the same foot width, 18 inches, and you square upwards. And you connect to a vertical line. So you can always keep your piece of pattern paper just in case you get to make them another time. So what we do, remember when we cut the front piece, we folded it. That was how we were able to get the center fold line and all that. But now when you're cutting the side piece, what you have to do is that you lay this front piece, this center front piece, directly on the side piece pattern. You're going to just check through the parts in the pattern book on how to cut it and how to lay it. You'd be able to understand better when you correlate it with the video. So when you lay it, just lay it a flat pattern on top of the main pattern, and then you start tracing out. You're only tracing out one side, you're not tracing out the both sides. Match it out. Okay. So you marked it. Why you have to do this is because you're going to connect the center piece to the side piece. And for you to be able to connect it, it has to have the same shape. That's how why we trace out this line. So when you're joining it, you have something like this, and then it gets to flare very well. So after you've already traced out one side, you're tracing out only one side. Then when you trace it out, you turn it this way. You turn it this way. You trace it out. Yeah. Then you remove your center front piece and place it on top of this line you've already traced out, the straight line you've already traced out. Make it stay on the same line. Then you mark out the lines. And you mark out the lines. Now the good thing is this, you don't have to do so much of maths or anything. All you just have to do is, this is your center front line, this folded line, this is your center front line. What you have to do is you apply the basic rules of Frashmatics. And since we're making a dress for Cindy that has a low waist measurement of 28 inches, what we do is from the center front, we measure 28 inches divided by 4. That will now give us 7 inches. We're measuring from this folded line. Be very careful about that. That's if we're making a 6-piece skirt. So this 7 inches, low waist divided by 4. And then you now start considering, by the time I join this side and this side, 1 inch is out. By the time I join my lining, 0.5 inches is out. That's a total of 1.5 inches. And the regular sewing allowance we add is 1.5 inches outside, joining the inside and joining the lining. So I have a total sewing allowance of about 3.0 inches. So that would give us 10. Then when we get to the hip line, still applying the rules of Frashmatics, given that the hip measurement is about 34, that would give us 34 divided by 4, that would be 8.5 plus an additional 3 inches sewing allowance. Then when we get to the knee, remember the rule, whatever it is you have here, you just subtract 4. We had 8.5 on the hip, so that's 34. So by the time we subtract, we're going to have 30. 30 divided by 4 should give us 7.5. Then we add 3 to it to give us 10.5. So what we do, we connect our line to the metal rule, we connect the point to the metal rule, and we connect to the edge. So the next thing, we lift this part up and drop it. This is the center piece and this is the side piece. So you cut through. Usually, we smoothen the sharp edges. I would rather smoothen them with my pencil and eraser or sharp curve. But don't let your curve be too sharp, so you just, when I cut, I tend to smoothen along that area so it doesn't seem so pointed. So this is what we have. We have the center front and then we have the side piece. So we have about 4 side pieces. When we're cutting, we're going to cut times 4. 2 for the front, that's 2 this way, then 2 for the back side, 2 front, 2 back. So when we are joining them, I'm just supposed to put another parts in the video yet, but when we are joining them, we're going to have something like this. And it would lock perfectly well, and this place would have a very nice flare because of your cutting. But when you don't cut it well, one part might be longer and another part will be shorter, and then you have an imbalance in your dressmaking. That's not what you want. So getting to the zipper part, we still follow the same method we followed in the curved 6-piece skirt. What you do is that you fold the center front. When you fold it, you place it. This is the pattern we use in making the zipper for the center front for the curved 6-piece skirt. So we just place it along this way. Measure your zip allowance, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. do your normal zip shaping, extend to your taste, and then connect. And voila, we're done. Thank you so much for watching my video. This is where we come to the end of straight fit 6-piece skirt. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the like button. Bye.